Okay, so Yish, why is it that etiquette is camping?
So etiquette is camping because you are watching for the spy to make a mistake that the AI cannot make. Hardtail or camping is like waiting for the spy to bug. You're waiting for an animation that only the spy will do. So etiquette is camping just because you're looking for a small mistake or animation break that the AI can just not perform.
Right. Was anybody listening? Did they have a retort to the specific points that you...
I didn't hear enough to give a retort.
Great, fantastic. Okay, reflexively, respond to the idea of what Yish may or may not have been saying.
Can you summarize it for me? Can I get a TLDR?
Basically,
Maybe you could listen to what he just said in the recording.
Is anybody recording it? Did they play it back for me?
basically, the spy can do hardtails like bug or swap.
Yeah.
And etiquette, you're watching for the spy to do only things that the spy can do.
Yes.
So hardtails.
Right,
So
right.
that's why I feel like they're very.
I would agree with that point.
Yeah, so I guess the problem is actually not that exactly. It's more like what do we consider to be etiquette? Because people are branching things in with etiquette there that are not just hard tells, right? Because behavioralism and etiquette are like kind of like you can't see on the recording, but I'm kind of mixing my fingers together, very tightly wound. I'm saying they're very similar. So I guess it depends. If you, with a very narrow definition of etiquette, then I would agree, yes. But the broad way people use it, where it starts to start to overlap with behavioralism and a lot of things that aren't hard tells, that's different, yeah. I think it also feels weird because the hard tells you're camping for with etiquette are not missions, right? So you don't always necessarily shoot for them either.
I think another point is that you can make decisions based off of etiquette that would be considered behavioralism. Like, if you make the assumption that the spy will never follow animations correctly, and I just lowlight people who sip correctly or leave correctly, then that's behaviorism. Because I'm saying I'm going to copy a trend.
That is a super great distinction because it's like camping if you're shooting because they break etiquette, but it's behavioralism if you're discounting them because they correctly do etiquette. So caring that they do etiquette correctly is a behavioralist assumption. When they break it, it becomes camping because it's hardtail.
Here's my question. So camping,
How big a nerd are you?
camping is reaching a point where you see evidence, catch them red-handed.
Proof, yeah.
Proof. Okay.
Right, yeah.
Behavioralism is it getting to a point where you have no one else to choose, or is it more getting down to and then having a good guess, or what's the end game of behavioralism? And how do you
on the player.
How do you compare that to etiquette?
It depends on how you define behavioralism.
Yeah, well, and like for example, I'm sort of hybridy. I lean towards behavioralism. I'm one that favors highlighting and suspects over lowlighting. Like, I'll find somebody, and if I see them do enough stuff, then I'll be ready to shoot them. I don't need to narrow down the whole party. I just need enough evidence gathered to shoot.
I would say behavioralism is more of make camping easier, because hard-tail camping is really difficult and it's really easy to mess up.
Make camping
So if you-
easy again.
Yeah. So if you can get lowlights and highlights based on information or what trends do you think the spy will perform, then you can just narrow down the party into such a small amount that if you just hardtail camp correctly, then you just can't lose if you narrow down the party enough.
So your end game is always hardtail camping with behavioralism?
For me, yes. It's to narrow the spy into a position where they cannot win because I've narrowed down the party enough.
Yeah.
Right. So camping is a way of finding the person
Yes.
with proof, and behavioralism is just a way to get to an easier camping.
Well,
In my opinion, that's my strategy.
A
lot of people shoot without proof.
Other behavioralism, like Thomas, shoots with no proof, and just decides he's feeling that way that day. But
Very inspiration.
Yeah.
So I have four thoughts. So camping is watching mission sites. Behavioralism is watching people. Etiquette is not necessarily watching mission sites, but it's watching for the reverse Turing test. You're watching to catch someone fail to do the robot correctly. And then there's the hybrid player, who I feel like Cletus actually goes in this sort of bucket, where people are just trying to watch the most interesting thing going on in the party, which is often a mission site, but sometimes just nothing's being done, and then you start actually catching other things that may be, instead of just Kaylee, who just twiddles his thumbs for 10 seconds because nobody could possibly be bugging, for example.
Have we vented everything, or are there other points? Yeah.
So somebody found a place where we could do this.
Okay, cool. But just on this point. Okay, so Nanthalus, any closing remarks?
So I think kind of back to the original question, this like might stem into a debate of how you even define camping. But I think camping is not only defined by the fact that you're watching for hardtails only the spy can do, but also by the fact that you're looking at specific mission sites at the party, i.e. the Amba, Purloin, etc. So because of that, etiquette almost plays more like behavioralism in the sense that you can't really tunnel on one specific area like camping can. You have to kind of watch the party holistically and opportunistically make reads on etiquette versus just waiting for something to happen.
It's what behavioralism does. Yeah. If camping is so easily defined as, just watching missions and trying to catch them in the act, and behavioralism is looking at the people, any kind of hybrid of it would be more leaning towards behavioralism, I would think, because you're not really looking at the people at all when you're camping.
I like what you said about behavioralism as a way to funnel the party down and then find a hardtail.
Then do the
Behavioralism
game, yeah.
is almost always transient. There are only a handful of snipers who I would say are routinely
Sometimes-
shooting for purely behavioral reasons. Most of them use behaviorism up to a point in the game, and
then
then with a
switch
narrow suspect list, camp.
But there are points when you're going to, while you're behavioralizing and low lighting people, you are missing those hard tells.
Yes.
And then when it gets down to the end of the game and you got to make a decision, then what is it?
It might be too late. Yeah.
It might be too late.
You might have
That's
missed
how
the
you
one
beat
thing.
a behavioralist.
Yeah.
You pass them when
Yeah.
they're looking at behavioral stuff.
Yeah.
But I think at that point, you have to just go full behavioralism and say, who pissed me off the most?
Or who's acting like a spy in the last 30 seconds? Who's doing a spy-like thing? And if you think you're behind, that's what people will do sometimes. I mean, everyone's a behavioralist if they know they're about to lose, and they have to take a shot anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, cool. So do we sort of have? I mean,
I feel like one of these corners is
yeah. So obviously the kind of point of the discussions like this is that we're not meant to like reach a consensus or anything. But does it feel like we sort of learned about everyone's like understanding or thoughts on what etiquette is and what its place is in the
A
game?
bit more, yeah. Okay. It overlaps with
Cool.
what
All right.
camping
Well, I'm glad we all came together to do this, and yeah.